Hello everyone. So, do you ever wonder how we make decisions based on data, especially in statistics? So, today we are going to learn something very important in hypothesis testing, that is, types of error. When we test a hypothesis, even though we try our best, errors can still occur. And there are two main types of errors you can make in this process. So, before we start learning about these types of error, let's quickly recap the basics of hypothesis testing. So, hypothesis testing is a way to make decisions using data. We start with two statements: null hypothesis and alternative hypothesis. The null hypothesis says there is no effect or impact, and on the other side, alternative hypothesis says there is impact or effect. For example, if a company claims that a new advertising campaign has no effect on sales, the null hypothesis would state the ad campaign has no impact on sales. On the other hand, the alternative hypothesis would say the ad campaign does have an impact on sales. Now, when we test these hypotheses, we either reject the null hypothesis or decide not to reject it based on the data we have. But here's where things get tricky. We never actually know the true state of null hypothesis. It could be true or false in reality, and that's where errors can happen. So there are two types of error we need to be aware of when making our decisions. The first error is called type 1 error. This happens when we reject the null hypothesis even though it's actually true. It's like giving an alarm when there is no fire, a false alarm. For better understanding, let's say we test the effectiveness of a new drug. If we mistakenly conclude the drug works even though it doesn't, we are making a type 1 error. On the flip side, there is type 2 error. This happens when we fail to reject the null hypothesis even though it's false. It's like having a fire but the alarm doesn't go off, a missed alarm. In our drug example, a type 2 error would occur if the drug actually works, but we fail to recognize it and conclude that it doesn't. So, in short, type 1 error is when we reject a true null hypothesis, and type 2 error is when we do not reject a false null hypothesis. And our goal in hypothesis testing is to minimize these errors and make the best possible decisions based on the data. So that's all about the type 1 and type 2 error and hypothesis testing. Thank you for watching the video and see you in the next video with another concept.